Hey guys, welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bittner to discuss our thoughts on Nintendo going mobile and their next system, codename NX. So let's get started. Alright, I know I said that, pretty normally, but this is kind of crazy news. Like, it all came out all of a sudden, like pretty much completely unexpectedly last night on a live stream. I was up watching it, and I had to go to bed immediately, because I'm flying up to Seattle, like, in about an hour or so. So I'm barely able to squeeze this in, but this is pretty huge news. So Nintendo did announce that they are going to start making mobile games. They're working with a company called DeNA, and basically everything's on the table. I mean, they can make any kind of game they want using their IP. They specifically mentioned, there's nothing off limits. So you could see Zelda, you could see Mario, you could see any number of games, Nintendo games now appearing on mobile systems. And on top of it all, they announced that they are working on a system that's going to have a new concept, a brand new concept called Codename NX. So there is a lot to cover here. So, and I barely even touched on all of it there. So Derek, what is your gut reaction to this news?
A gut reaction is that this is inevitable. This was really inevitable. Like, we always kind of dreaded them going mobile, but honestly, as much as I was kind of dreading that idea, this is the best possible situation I could have dreamed of. We got a new system coming. They are working with somebody that's very well known and has a really good infrastructure as far as mobile games, at least as far as what I know of the Japanese company, DeNA. And they're really opening it up to whatever system. The thing that's the most encouraging to me about all this is the fact that they said that they won't be doing ports. Every game they create is going to be brand new, built from the ground up, because they realize that the mobile market is different. It controls differently, it handles differently, it has different ideas behind it. So the fact that they already know that going in is a little bit encouraging. That way we're not just seeing crappy ports of things we've already played before and there's no reason for us to pick it up.
Right, yep, that is a good point. It does sound like they're going all in on this. They did mention one thing that was interesting there, and that's infrastructure. And it sounds like that's part of the reason Nintendo is pursuing this, is because they announced that they're going to be starting a new membership service with this in mind, basically as a replacement to Club Nintendo. I'm not quite sure how exactly that's going to work, but it really does sound like they're finally going to make their own ecosystem, like their own proper, hopefully like account management, right? That will work across devices. Okay, so for me, my gut reaction, I'm of two minds on this. One, I don't care about mobile games at all. I don't play them. I don't like how they control. I don't like how most of them play. With that said, if there is a company that's going to get me to play mobile games, it'd be Nintendo. But putting aside my personal thoughts on mobile games, let's be real here. Nintendo really almost doesn't have a choice in this. They have to. This is something that a lot of people are going to resist believing, but Nintendo's performance as of late hasn't been stellar, and the smartphone market has been a large part of that. It's been eroding Nintendo's market share, and this just makes sense. With that said, Nintendo, I watched a live stream. They were stressing repeatedly, Nintendo is not changing. Like, this is just another avenue for them to pursue. It won't come at the expense of dedicated hardware. It sounds like it won't change anything they're doing currently. It's not a paradigm shift for the company. In total, basically, it sounds like if you ignored the mobile portion of the company, that they're now working on, you wouldn't know anything changed. Now, granted, who knows if that's going to forever be the case. This could be just a small step toward that eventual change. But for now, it sounds like they're staying the course while trying some new things. And I have to be honest, I'm actually kind of excited. Like, I like seeing Nintendo do something different. And this is different.
Well, it's nice to see them catching up with the times almost. I mean, I'm with you. I barely play mobile games at all. But this is also kind of in relation to their quality of life stuff that they've been putting out there for a while. We haven't seen anything of yet, but the fact that they're expanding to that market, and they're expanding to mobile, and despite Nintendo could have been doing great, honestly, but that's still a revenue that they'd be losing out on and be crazy not to pursue, because, well, everybody knows Nintendo. People have been saying get Nintendo a mobile for a while, so it just makes sense. Even if Nintendo was the top in the market, it's still a good avenue to pursue. As far as the whole the new membership service, I think that's a good idea. I think there's a lot of potential there, especially when it's connected in all these different ways. We could even see something like Club Nintendo, where we get like we get this game here on the NX, and we get points, so we can redeem that and get mobile games and just ways to try out some of those smaller games, or vice versa, or however they want to treat that. I think it could be a very interesting service, and hopefully this is also a sign that they might do cross-platform buying more often, like they did with Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
And that actually would be a perfect type of game too. I mean, it uses a web framework technology, something that would easily be able to work on phones. I mean, if it works on 3DS, it's something they could easily, very easily port to a tablet or phone, or even the PC, which they mentioned in their little infograph thing there. They showed all the devices, including their upcoming one, NX, and showing how they'll all work together. So yeah, that definitely could be possible. So I guess, do you have any hopes or expectations for what type of games we'll see from Nintendo? I mean, we already mentioned, they already said, anything's on the table. Any type of game could appear here. But they didn't really talk about the scope. So do you think they're going to pursue like full, in-depth, typical Nintendo-style games? Or do you think we might see something closer in style like eShop games, for instance, on smartphones? Basically maybe something that's used as more of a marketing tool than purely a game on its own.
I think it's going to be a mix. I think we're going to see stuff that's a little bit more involved, some stuff that's a little lighter, and we're already sort of seeing that with Pokemon Shuffle coming out, and that being a lot like Candy Crush. And then there's a lot more complicated games, that not complicated, but more in-depth games like Harmonight Knight coming out on the 3DS eShop as well. So there's that. I think they're going to keep that sort of mix there. I think this is actually going to be an excellent tool in getting people interested in those old IPs. So you put out that game, and you have, let's say Ice Climbers. You put out an Ice Climbers game, and all of a sudden there's this renewed interest in Ice Climbers, and they're like, okay, let's try a larger game for the 3DS eShop, and then that does well, and you can go for bigger and bigger and bigger, and keep the Ice Climbers brand going. And really, I could almost see Ice Climbers, like if they want to go as simple as possible, they could almost make an Ice Climbers version of Flappy Bird if they really wanted to.
Actually, that would be kind of awesome. I mean, it'd be terrible, but it'd be kind of awesome.
Oh yes, but you can see people getting addicted to it. I mean, it's there's a lot of possibility out there, but I think they're going to cover a wide spectrum just to see what sticks at first.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the case. I mean, we've seen Nintendo doing a lot of experimenting recently in all kinds of ways, whether it's the price of their games, or whether it's the size and scope of the games. We've seen, as you mentioned, several mobile type of games now using Nintendo assets, and it feels like that was basically a start of what we're going to start seeing here. So I think you're right. I think we'll see all kinds of games appear on the service. So what excites me about this, I think, in thinking more about this, is how much, I wonder if this opens a door to seeing even more experimentation from Nintendo, particularly in relation to their older franchises. Like, it's been almost a decade, or maybe even more than a decade now, since we saw F-Zero on any kind of platform. I wonder now, like with smartphones being everywhere, literally everyone has one. I wonder if this will give them the chance to maybe bring back some of those older, more experimental type of games. Because there is now potentially a market share for it. For instance, Nintendo has probably lost a good chunk. I mean, well, obviously they have to have a good chunk of their older audience. Like, there are tons of people who grew up with Nintendo who are no longer playing in the Nintendo system. If like a game that appeals to them, like from their childhood, like an IP, is now only a quick button press away, like they can download to their phone, I think that could open up a whole new market for them. Like, bring back some of those gamers they may have lost, and maybe make them again interested in Nintendo's hardware or ecosystem in general. Now instead.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about the lost market from the old SNES and NES days. No, that's a great idea, and it really says, going mobile is not all doom and gloom. This is not the death knell of the company, and I think it actually allows for growth in that area, and then bringing it over to their actual consoles and seeing what gets attractive, because of course they make good money on mobile, but they want to bring people to buy their systems and get stuff on there.
Right.
So of course, if that game does popular, that's all the more reason to put it on their bigger consoles, at least in my mind. I mean, maybe maybe I'm not realizing something as far as how that all works, but I think it's a good idea, and I don't know. I am nervous. I'm not completely like this is the greatest thing ever, but it's still like I'm cautiously optimistic about this news.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically how I feel too. I mean, again, as I said before, I really am not a fan of playing games on my mobile device. I don't like touchscreen controls that much, and I don't think there's been a lot of gameplay experiences on my phone that were compelling enough to take me away from navigating Facebook or something. But, I do think there's potential here, as and it really depends what they do here. I mean, there is so much they can do here. Like, they might make some core experiences based on their IP. They could make support type of games, where let's say you're playing an RPG and you can take a mobile app version of that game and go mine resources while you're, riding the train or something. You can carry those resources back over into your full game on your Wii U or 3DS or something.
Or something like Zelda, like you can go fishing and do your fishing minigame on the phone and then come back and get the rewards for the fishing minigame.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff along those lines. And I guess a balancing act here is going to be, how complete an experience can they offer without compromising their 3DS, their 3DS business, right? Because that is also mobile, but it's weird to say this. It's definitely less mobile than smartphones, right? Like, I don't know about you. I very rarely these days take my 3DS anywhere. I know Ash takes it everywhere, but I feel like for a lot of people, they don't. Like, it's a conscious effort to bring it with you. Whereas your smartphone is something you always have on you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case.
Yeah. So I really don't know like what all directions are going to take it in this. I do think I expect these games to be a bit smaller in scale than a normal 3DS game, but I do think we will see some complete experiences on here.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I don't think there's going to be I think it's on the occasional bigger game there that'll take advantage of it, and maybe one of their companies one of the developers will want to do something unique with it, and they're like, okay, try it out on mobile and see what happens. That way, it might be a cheaper point of entry than the 3DS eShop.
That's true.
As far as that goes. So I don't think there'll be much butting heads on the 3DS because the 3DS experience is a complete experience. Like I already said how much I love Codename Steam, and I easily got 20 hours out of that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've played a single mobile game for that long. So, so I'm not too worried about them clashing up against one another. So it's because they're completely different frameworks, really.
Yeah, they are. So I wonder if that's something too that they're gonna work toward with their next systems, having a more common framework that they can more easily port games between. I mean, I guess that's what they're doing with. The support for Nintendo's web framework and also Unity. Those are cross-platform, and I think we've already started seeing that direction they're heading in. So yeah, so ultimately I'm really interested. I don't think people need to be that concerned. Iwata himself said, they announced the codename NX, their next system, which is totally unexpected, and I have a feeling they did that to curb any, the idea that they are venturing away from their core business. Because Iwata himself said it's going to be for video game lovers. So it sounds like they are really embracing, the shift we've already seen with them, going back to, like the core type of games instead of the more casual type of games. Which they still do as well, of course. But it sounds like, they are really going to just keep doing what they're doing. Hopefully with a hook that gets people more interested than the Wii U did.
Yeah, I guess that's the big question, because they did say they had a new concept in mind with the NX, which who knows what that could be.
Yeah, do you have any idea, or any abstract thoughts as what they mean by that?
I mean, with the timing of the announcement, maybe a bigger focus on connecting between their other devices, they really just combine everything and have everything connect with one another. So rather than needing the gamepad, you could just use a tablet or your phone or something like that, or maybe even just the 3DS. I really don't know, because who could have predicted the gamepad or the waggle controls for the Wii? It's been a interesting time trying to guess what Nintendo's going to try next, and I can just hope that it's successful and takes some. Opens up some really good possibilities. The naming of NX is interesting as well, but I think also they did give a time frame on when we could see more of the system. They said next year, which would be, of course, be 2016. which could indicate that that this new system will come out by holiday of 2016 or potentially into 2017, which means it's
really
rather soon.
Yeah, it's not that far. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out like what this could be. Like, is it a console? Is it a portable type of system? Is it an entirely new type of device? I think there might be a slight hint with the image they revealed, again with the codename NX being on it, along with the Wii U 3DS and the tablet, PC, and smartphones. And that seems like it might be suggesting that it's a third pillar type of a device, or a complementary type of device as well. One that's not meant to replace either of those necessarily, kind of presenting in the same way as the Nintendo DS. But as we all know, that eventually did just straight up replace the GBA. So I do wonder, like, if we are truly seeing like their next system, because the 3DS at that point will be pretty old. Like, it will be, it will be time or getting close to its replacement. Of course, I've seen some people mention, is Nintendo replacing the Wii U already? And I don't know. That seems, I think if anything, it's a better chance of being a more portable type of system. But maybe it's a whole new type of device. Maybe it's like a Netflix type, like a Roku type thing. You just connect to your TV that allows you easy access to these mobile games and maybe 3DS stuff. Like, well, geez, I was gonna mention Vita TV or PlayStation TV, but you know what I mean. Like, who knows what Nintendo's doing, right?
Yeah, it's a hard thing. I mean, with the whole third pillar thing, I wonder if it's almost like the idea is to really be the bridge between mobile and home console gaming, where like the same concept as the gamepad, except imagine the gamepad is instead just a 3DS and taking it wherever you want to go, and it's just all bundled together, and you can have both 3DS experiences on there and Wii U and console experiences on there. So maybe that's the direction they could go in, but that just seems like it would be a very expensive system, because you just imagine you have a 3DS and a console packed in together. That's not going to be cheap.
No, yeah, it wouldn't be. I'm not quite sure what they're gonna do here. I mean, it's a complete mystery. I am excited to find out more. Yeah, I really can't stress enough. Like, I actually am kind of excited by this news. Like, I like seeing Nintendo do anytime to do something different. This is definitely different for them, and I also think it's kind of long overdue. Like, this is a necessity. If you look at their console business, ignoring the Wii, which I'm not taking anything away from the Wii, but they had an amazing hook there. They weren't able to replicate. And if you look at every system ignoring the Wii, like, every system's hard or install base has dropped, like, pretty much at the same rate. Like, a similar, if you look at like a line chart, it's pretty similar. And I think that's scaring the hell out of Nintendo. Like, if whatever system comes out next, I guess, potentially codename NX, like, whichever successor there is to the Wii U, if it continues that trend, there's no way that's sustainable. So I think they are making a good choice here to embrace mobile. It can only help them. I mean, that's really it. It can only help them. This can't, like, maybe it's possible it does nothing. So what? That's not going to hurt them any more than they've already hurt themselves. I'm just excited about what all happens here. Who knows? Maybe this is a way, as I said before, we finally see F-Zero again. So, in which case, awesome, and that it might actually work okay with tilt controls.
Yeah, everybody's always ready to spell doom and gloom for Nintendo. So to see that they're taking steps to prevent that doom and gloom and not affect their regular console business, I'm all for it. So we'll see what happens. And like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. So we'll see. Yeah,
I am too. I liked the way Iwata presented it during the live stream. It sounds like he's really coming to terms with the reality of the marketplace, and while being while respecting what Nintendo is about. So I don't think we have much to be concerned about yet. Who knows what the future holds. But for right now, I think Nintendo's doing it right. I'm excited to see what comes of this. Alright guys, I think that wraps up for now. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about this eventually. But for now, we're done here, so thanks for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below. It's a good way to keep up to date and everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for probably more on this and other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.